Thank you very much, Dr. Chitayimbwa, Your Grace, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda and Chancellor of Uganda Christian University, the outgoing Chairman of Council, together with all the Council members, the incoming Vice Chancellor, and you'll permit me not to go into all the protocol, but I do know that here we do have Mama Margaret Kazimba. We are so glad to have you. We also have Mama Dr. Alice Mwesigwa, the wife of the outgoing chairman. We're so glad to have you here. And just so that I have a bed when I go back home, I also have here my own beloved wife for 35 years, Dr. Ruth Senyonyi. And But let me also say how delighted I am to see my friend, my brother from Makerere, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe. Thank you so much for coming. I recognize your presence here. It's not mine to recognize because I think the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic Affairs has already done that. So here I'll just say a few things before Dr. Chitayimbwa stands up to stop me, because he knows now that I have no powers to do beyond. So he can actually control me quite a bit. Let me speak very briefly, first and foremost by saying, I thank God. I thank God. The God who saved me in 1976, I beg your pardon, as a young student at the University of Nairobi, and who has walked with me all these years and has enabled me to be what I am. When I came to Christ shortly after that, I thought that, at least I felt that God was calling me into the ministry of preaching the gospel. It never occurred to me at all that I would end up where I am. That's why I can say, I thank God. I worked at Makerere University for a few years, from 1978 for about 2 years, and then I went for studies, coming back with my PhD in mathematical statistics, and worked again from 1984 to 1987. And when I left Makerere University, I knew working with an academic institution was history. There would be no more. Little did I realize that God had a different plan. I thank God. He's been amazing. I want to thank God for my family. I think I'm going to ask my wife if she could kindly stand up, Dr. Ruth Senyonyi. For 35 years, we've worked together. When I married her, I was teaching at Makerere University in the Department of Mathematics. And she was a young lady and remains young. I don't know why some of us grow old. But she has kept me very well. Unfortunately, not all our children can be here. But we do have 4 children. 2 of them are married. 1 is threatening to marry next year. But they are all adults. And know that many of them are listening in. We also have 4 grandchildren, lovely grandchildren that spoil us. You know, many people think that grandparents spoil the grandchildren. The truth of the matter is the grandchildren spoil the grandparents. So I want to say, most importantly, this place here has nurtured us, Your Grace. When we came here, our oldest was in Senior 2 at Gayaza High School. Our second born was in Senior 1 at King's College, Budo. Our third born was in primary school, I think primary probably 5. And the youngest was something like primary 1. As I speak today, each of them has completed university. The youngest actually is 24, and he's an electrical and computer engineer in Germany. And we do have, you know, the family has stood with us amazingly throughout the years that we've been here. And so I want to say I thank God indeed for my family. Because, in fact, one of the things that we've been boasting about lately, when we moved out of the house here now 1.5 weeks ago, we moved into a house that was designed and supervised by our son, the architect. Now, not many people have that kind of blessing. For me, it's a real blessing, and I want to thank God. And for those of you that have been there, you can see his eye of detail, his eye of excellence, and we want to thank God. So I say, I thank God. During my years here, I have served in different capacities. When I came here, I was coming as the university chaplain. And I knew that I was merely continuing the work of preaching the gospel that I had been doing for 13 years. And I do remember organizing some of the very first crusades right here in this square, this green square, which on this campus is called Agape Square. And we saw hundreds of students come to Christ. When I was approached to become Deputy Vice Chancellor of Finance and Administration, I objected, and for many months I said no. Then I became Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development and External Relations, which is essentially resource mobilization, before I had the madness of becoming a Vice Chancellor. But now the question that I've been asking myself all these days, have I preached the gospel? Have I done that which God brought me here? In my understanding, I thought that the preaching of the gospel was going to be mainly verbal. But I look back, and I will leave that as a question for you to see, but I think in my heart, I do have some semblance of satisfaction. Whether I have preached the gospel in administration, whether I have preached the gospel in resource mobilization, whether I have preached the gospel as Vice Chancellor, that is for others to judge. But I want to say, I thank God because throughout the almost 20 years that I've been at Uganda Christian University, nobody can accuse me of taking money from the university that I did not earn. Nobody can accuse me of behaving inappropriately with a young girl. Nobody can accuse me of tribalism. Nobody can accuse me of any of those things that many people kind of consider that they must do. I have personally worked with integrity, and I want to say to you, my brother, continue with that integrity. Let the finances of the university be the finances of the university. Let the young girls to whom you shall become father be young girls whose bodies you respect. Let the people of Uganda, and even beyond, because students here come from many nations, be respected as human beings that you love and not to think of any particular tribe. And so I thank God who has enabled me to do all that. Now, as I retire, I am retiring from the graduation speeches. You're welcome. I'm retiring from, in fact, many other speeches. I'm retiring from reports to the University Council. I'm retiring, and it goes on and on. I think I could go on and on, but I'm retiring from many, many different things that a Vice Chancellor does. But I thank God that he has enabled me to do all that, not because I'm able of my own, but because God is able. My theme throughout my time in this university has been the verse in Exodus 33, verse 14, which says, "My presence will go with you and I will give you rest." That is the promise I received from God. That is the prayer that I have heard all through my time. Exodus 33, verse 14, "My presence will go with you and I will give you rest." My brother, Aaron, may I say you are taking over Christian University. If there is anything that must be guarded with everything you are and have, it is the Christian identity of this university. The Christian identity of this university. It cannot be compromised. During my 20 years in this university, we have done a lot of things. Maybe we have failed in some. One of the things that I just want to bring to your attention is the core values of this university, which we wrote just a few years ago during my vice chancellorship. And those core values, Christ-centeredness, diligence, integrity, servanthood, stewardship. Now, please note, they go in that order, and the first one is Christ-centeredness. Christ-centeredness. Let Christ, and we'll be praying for you, let Christ be at the center of everything that you will be doing. I do not want to say much more than that, but once again I want to say I thank God for whatever little contribution we've made in the last 20 years, and seeing our family grow up in this place is for us the greatest delight of our lives. May God bless you. I did say to the University Senate when I was bidding them farewell that we have only moved up there on the hill. So we'll be looking down to see what are you doing. But thank you so much that you have offered yourself to come and be here. Let me now take the pleasure to welcome the outgoing chairman of council. And by the way, when staff members stood up, I nearly stood up because unknown to many, I'm a staff member until tomorrow. So tomorrow is my last day, and that's whatever work you want me to do, I will do. But let me take the pleasure to invite the outgoing chairman of council, the Right Reverend Dr. Fred Sheldon Mwesigwa. Thank you very much.